What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Ask Mevo Anything. My name is Will, and I am joined, as always, by Joseph. What is up, man?
What's going on, Will? How are you today?
Doing good, doing good. We were just watching the Apple event, so some exciting stuff going on in tech, as always.
Yeah, I am very excited. To the last thing they talked about there was that studio, the Mac Studio. I'm very,
Yeah,
very
man.
interested to see what well, how much that costs. I didn't see the price. Did you catch the price on that? I'm
No.
not sure if they mentioned it, but I'm very excited to see what that, that turns out being because it was pretty cool. It was very impressive.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so let's go and talk about our setups a little bit. Mine is obviously different this time around. So I'm actually on my way getting ready to move to California. So I've got nothing in my apartment right now. So I'm doing a bare minimum setup, which is actually kind of nice because not everybody has what we typically have, which is like a wall of screens in front of us and everything like that. So I'm kind of experimenting with that a little bit. And so I've got my Mevo Start. I'm using wired webcam because I don't have even my network switch set up, so I can't even do PoE right now. I am using Elytra Glow for my lighting, which is just sitting on top of my laptop, which is really nice. And then for audio, I'm using a little portable blue raspberry mic, which I can show. It's really nice.
It's such a cool looking
And
one.
that's, yeah, right. And it folds up and comes in this nice little case as well, which is also slick. And that's actually going directly into my Mevo via 3.5 millimeter TRS cable. And then, as always, we're using Melon to connect up and then stream out.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that you're still able to do like a slimmed down version of what you're normally using, and still be able to do the show, which is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, what's your setup?
So, what I'm doing right now is it's nothing changed from my usual setup. I'm using a Mevo Start, and that is going wireless webcam to my computer. I'm actually using an iMac computer right now, and I'm connecting the camera over the network. But I am also connecting my cameras through my PoE Ethernet adapter into my network. So my camera is hardwired into my network, and my computer is hardwired into my network. So that allows me to use the wireless webcam on the network together, even though everything's still kind of plugged in. For audio, I am using a blue baby bottle, which is routing through a DBX compressor. Then it is then being routing to then it is then it's being routed to a Behringer mixer, which has an EQ on it as well. So I'm running through some compression. I'm running through some EQ. The DBX compressor also has a noise gate on it, so that'll help for when I get quiet. You shouldn't be hearing too much of my room or any of the computer fans or anything like that. And then that's being routed back into my headphone amplifier. So if you're following me on this, I have a headphone amplifier. What that does is allows me to connect multiple Mevos to my one signal. So essentially what I'm doing is taking my audio signal from my mixer, splitting it out 4 different ways so I can connect to 4 different Mevos. So when I do like a multicam demo, or when I want to have this input come into one of my multicam sessions, I can absolutely do that. And then from there, again, we're going into the back of the Mevo, which I thought I had an extra one on me. I think they're all set up. Oh, no, I do. So on the back of the Mevo is a 3.5 millimeter input, which allows you to take a stereo signal and get sound into your Mevo. So that's how I'm coming in. That is then, of course, going right into the stream. I'm coming in today as a guest on Melon. So that's how we're doing it all.
Nice. And speaking of Melon, it is we changed around our design. You kind of gave us a nice little upgrade. So if you can tell, for those of you who are very consistent viewers, like we changed up the graphics a little bit, and I think it's a big improvement.
Yeah,
So
I tried to crisp them up a little bit. So for people using Melon, what
yeah,
we noticed is Some of the highlights and the graphics, the definition wasn't there as much, which makes sense because it is a compressed video signal being sent on a browser, right? So the Melon app is working from a browser. We're not actually using like Streamlabs or something like that, or like an in-house software. So because of that, there is some serious compression going on, especially when you're trying to go to multiple destinations and stuff like that. So I noticed that the graphics in the other shows, they were a little soft, let's say. So we tried to crisp them up a little bit, and then repost them and use them. So I think it actually makes a huge difference as far as like what you're seeing on the final program out.
Yeah, I was drag that
Sweet.
there. Yeah, when I was doing graphics
Mhm.
for the multicam app, like I noticed that if you make graphics that are much higher resolution, even if they're gonna be smaller, it's good to start out at that higher resolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even if the signal gets compressed or you do get some type of quality loss, it's not as drastic as if you had just like a canvas of like 720 or something like that. Um,
Right.
so yeah, so you get a little bit more on better results, accounting for the compression.
Cool. So it looks like we've
Mhm.
got some people jumping in. I do actually want to mention as I'm going through all the different chat from all the different networks, we are always trying to push more and more people over to Twitch. It is really a better experience overall, and there's more stuff that we can do in the future as well through Twitch and chat bots and stuff like that. So definitely, we encourage you to move on over to Twitch if you want to get kind of the best experience.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. I mean, Twitch has been just on point with as far as video quality, audio quality, reliability. So that's definitely where we want to push anyone that's watching the show. Definitely follow us at Mevo Camera on Twitch.
Yeah, and there's also just really good, conversations that happen back and forth. Cool. So let's jump into some chat. Let's see. First
Yeah,
off, we've got
absolutely.
Laser Les. How you doing? Good morning from Oregon.
Morning,
What's up
Les.
from Brooklyn? Logitech Joe joining us. What's up, man? Speaking of Logitech Joe, you probably haven't seen him on the show for a bit, and unfortunately, he is just like super busy right now. But we're gonna try and get him on in the future as a special guest and Mevo expert.
For
So
sure.
good joining us, Joe. What's up, man? Chris says, giving to post the first question. Are there any plans to add availability to save static shots for any future sessions? That
Good
would be
question.
great. Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a good question to start it off. Yeah, we've been asked that a bunch of times because there are a lot of people that are bummed that you lose all those static shots when you do a reset. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if there's any plan to have that saved on in the future, but it's definitely on our feature request list. So hopefully we can bring that because I can see the usefulness of that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, hey
Um,
Nate, if Nate's watching, that's
yeah,
a
right.
request that we hear quite often. So get on it, man.
Yeah, 100%. Um, Chris says, also, I noticed in the multicam app, you can put bugs in any of the four corners, but on the Mevo app, it's limited to the top two corners. Any plans to expand that capability in the Mevo app? That's interesting. I didn't know that it was limited to two corners.
Yeah, so in the regular Mevo app, when you go to select your over the shoulders, that's where the bug um, section is, right? So it'll
Right,
show you the plus sign over the shoulder, and then it'll show another smaller plus sign in that corner, and that's where you can place the bugs. But
right.
in the multicam app, you actually get to pick bottom left, bottom right, top. So that's a good point. It's a good call out.
Yeah.
You're actually Chris. I think you're the first person to mention that actually on this show. I haven't heard that before, but I noticed it for sure. It's good. Hey, it's a good feature request. But again, if you're using that, I mean, you could just use the multicam app
You
unless you
could.
need static shots. But I find like if you get more Meevos and you can use the multicam app, you're going to get a better product overall, just because instead of zooming in on static shots, you can actually set up static shots that are in full 1080 as well. So a little bit more to do, but you'll get better results in the end. But that's definitely a good call out.
Yeah, and of course you can definitely you can set up the full screen PNGs. So if you really want to have something that's in the lower left or the lower right, you can do a transparent PNG and have like whatever it is, that logo or graphic in the corners if you want to do that.
Good call out.
Laser West says, "Wow, congratulations on the move to CA. Thank you, sir. Let's have lunch. Yeah, we'll have to do like a cool Mevo live meetup at some point. That would be tight." Hey guys, if I have my iPad Pro connected via Ethernet and the starts are on Wi-Fi, do I disable Wi-Fi on the iPad? If I have the iPad Pro connected via, you could. I don't think you
Yeah,
need to. The
we have
iPad
to see
Pro
how it looks on the
should
iPad.
switch over automatically.
Yeah, Ethernet should take precedence over Wi-Fi. So
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to. However, on my computer, on my iMac, I do shut off my Wi-Fi. I just have it hardwired just to eliminate any type of other interference, maybe becoming like a printer kicking
Mm.
on or doing an update or something like that, or on any type of just Wi-Fi interference that's possible. If it is possible in your location, um, sure, turn it off.
Yeah, it's cool.
The choice.
Any idea when Apple will release the multicam app version with audio features? Eager to play around with it. Oh, the iOS version of the multicam app. Yeah, I don't know when that's going to be popping up on the Apple Store. I know that we just checked on it earlier today, but unfortunately, it's still not there. But yeah, unfortunately, we just don't have any sort of timeline on that. But we're hoping very, very soon. So keep checking. Pedro
Hola,
says,
Pedro.
"Hola, what's up? How you doing, man?" I just discovered the Mevo today, and I'm planning on set up a multicam stream working in a shop. How does multicam work with OBS so you can still have alerts?
That's a good
It's a
question.
good question. Yeah, and now that you can do multicam to wireless webcam, now like you have so many more options when it comes to bringing it into OBS. In terms of alerts, are you talking about like chat alerts? Like what? How do you mean? Like
Yeah,
what
I
do you
guess if you
think he's
have like a
saying
chat
there?
bot, like if you have one of the chat bots connected to like Streamlabs, I forget what it's called.
Right.
But you could just import your chat and have like all your chats rolling on your screen. Or if you're doing like restream or something like that, you'll have your chat rolling, like kind of how we have in Melon. Um,
Right.
but it depends on where you're streaming to, because if you're doing YouTube, is it YouTube and Facebook that you can see chat on the app? Oh wait, no. Well, I guess multicam you can't see either, right?
Yeah, not in the multicam app. Yeah.
Right, that's just a single
I
app.
mean, if you're using the multicam app on a tablet, you could always, do multitask to see chat, but it really depends on what you're doing or where you're streaming to.
Yeah, and as far as like other alerts, like if it's like Twitch alerts, like subs and stuff like that, I mean, you can see all that if you just have your Twitch page up. So you can
Yeah, that's a good
basically
point.
you can stream directly to Twitch using the multicam app, let's say, since you're asking on Twitch. Um, and then just on a computer or laptop or a phone or something else, you could just pull up your Twitch and just go to your video producer and then you can see all your stuff there. But you can still be streaming directly from the camera if you want. So you could have someone else doing that for you. I know a lot of Twitch streamers will have like someone running their chats and managing it and managing that stuff on a separate computer. You could do something like that. Um, but if you're trying to work it into OBS, it's what Will said. It would just be like using right now you could do multicam to webcam. So essentially what you could do is you can have the multicam be a source inside your OBS stream where the cameras will change. You could set up the auto director, have everything going automatically if you want, however you want, change from the app. And then whatever other overlays or stuff you're using in OBS for, or whatever you're using OBS for, can still be there. So a couple different ways you can do it. I don't know why it
right.
doesn't switch us to the same spots we were just in.
I don't know. It is definitely very frustrating to have to keep that up. But when you
Yeah,
think
did I
about
miss
like
anything
all
on
the
that?
trade-offs for no, it's spot on. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, when you think about the trade-offs that we have for doing Melon versus Streamlabs, it's definitely better overall.
Yeah, if you're doing any
Okay.
type of like talk show like this, the Melon is definitely a nice condensed version of what Streamlabs is doing. Still got fire trucks happening.
Yep. There you go.
What I like about this question though, was it Nudnik? The Nudnik is you just discovered the Mevo today. So I am so curious to see. Let us know in the chat, like, how did you discover the Mevo? Like, did you see the regular Mevo app? Did you see the multicam app? Did you see the other stuff the Mevo could do as far as bringing it into Streamlabs? Did you see an ad? Like what brought you here? I'm so curious to know. Definitely let us know in the chat. Are you muted there, Will?
I am. Good call
I'm
out.
telling you, we got to put the
Um,
little things on the top.
let's see. Trinity says, "Hey, gentlemen, you might remember I was asking some questions last week regarding my Facebook live stream at the church going black. Oh yeah, using the multicam app, I believe, right? Exactly 30 to 35 minutes into the stream every single time. I used Twitch this past Sunday and it did it again. I found it very confusing. How is it always the amount of time into the stream? If it's internet connectivity issue, wouldn't it be more random? Not necessarily. If it's specifically 30 to 35 minutes, I think last time we were talking about this issue being internal network bandwidth, right? Being
As a
the
possible
main,
culprit, yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that why it's like if it's super consistent every time that it's 30, 35 minutes, that's trickier, right? Like,
So here's what I'm thinking. Test
yeah,
this not at your church. Take it at home. Go on a test, like do a test stream to a private Twitch or whatever, or just point the camera at a wall. Just let it roll. See what happens. If you're able to live stream on a different network and it goes past the 30-minute mark, then maybe it's something going on with the network. The only other thing I would check too is you are doing Facebook. So are you scheduling your Facebook streams to end at a certain time? Because I'm pretty sure you can do that in Facebook. I might be thinking about YouTube, but
yeah, but they were
um,
thinking, or they were saying that they tried it on Twitch and it did it this on Twitch as well.
oh, okay, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely check the different network. I think that's a good call. I would also, if you're using multicam, I think it was multicam that you were using. So if you're using multicam, I would try using the Mevo single app to see if it does that, or using just a single camera in the multicam app. That would be a good test as well. Um, yeah, that's kind of all I can think of right now.
Yeah, I think we just need to do a little bit more testing and just testing different networks, testing different combinations, and seeing where the culprit may lie. For it to just stop like that, there has to be something cutting it off. Are you playing live music? Um,
Right.
is it popular music that'll get pinged on the internet? If it's unlicensed music or something like that, that could do it too. So if it's like you're doing the same sermon every Sunday and you're playing the same song at the same time, that could be a culprit.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Usually Twitch doesn't end though. That's a weird monkey wrench into this equation. Usually Twitch will just flag you later.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, do the network test, try and do it on a different network and see if it happens again. And if it does happen again, shoot us a ticket and somebody can give you kind of more specific help and troubleshoot that with you. So head over to help.mevo.com and shoot them all the info that you can.
Yeah, yeah. So if you did any testing you did, so if you had already tried a different network, make sure you let them know. If you have any video examples of it just ending, like a clip from that, include that. The more information in that you could put in the ticket, the better, for sure.
Looks like somebody's asking them if it's your service provider. I think it's less likely that that is what it is, but it's certainly possible. So definitely check on a different network. Cool. It's like some good conversation, some good ideas going back and forth about that issue. So it's another reason to head over to Twitch so you can be part of that like really good conversation there. Cool. So here's another question. Can the Mevo Start be used as an individual camera in OBS? What do you think, Joe?
I think the answer to that is a big fat yes. It absolutely can. So there's a couple ways you can do this. There's 3 ways you can do this. You can do a wired webcam connection, which would be connecting from the USB-C port out of your Mevo directly into computer. And then with that, you would just need to turn this Mevo Start into wired webcam mode, which you can do that by, I'll turn this on real quick, by double clicking the power button on the back, and you'll get a little chime that lets you know if it's on or off. Or you can go into your settings, and there's an option in your settings as well. You can do wireless webcam. So for this, you would need the wireless webcam app, which you could find at mevo.com. And from there, once you download the app on your computer, it comes out of your drop down tray. So if you're using a Mac, it'll be on the top right. If you're using a PC, it'll be on the bottom right. And you can select your Mevo camera from there and use it wirelessly. Or you can connect via NDI. Now, NDI is doing a couple of different things. It's connected to your network. So you have to be sure that the camera is connected to the same network as your computer. But you can connect wirelessly or wired using NDI as well and bring that into OBS. So to hear that webcam, the wired webcam chime, let's see if I can get it. That's on and that's off. Hopefully that came through. Will let me know.
Cool. Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's a good call. No, nailed it.
Wait.
Yeah, I think wired webcam is a solid way to go now that you can do 1080p.
Yeah, good point.
Right.
Good point. That's something we did recently, updated in the wired webcam application. It used to only be 720, but now it is 1080.
Big improvement. What's up, Kathy? Will the multicam app ever have follow a face? That's a good question. It's something that I haven't seen. The team, I know the team's working on a lot of stuff right now, so I'm not sure if that's something that they are working on. But I do hope that multicam will allow static shots and find faces in the future. But
Yeah, we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. Someone's like, I want 9 angles. So like have 3 different cameras with 3 different static
Right.
shots and get like this ridiculous like setup of camera angles. I'm curious how that would look in the multicam app. Like, it would have to be like the zoom and crop, right?
Right.
And then you'd
You
have
have to
to have
go
like a
into a
drop
separate
down.
menu.
Yeah, you'd have to do a separate menu to select which angle you're on, depending on which camera you're on, or you'd have to like pre-select them. So it'd be like camera 1, shot 3. You know what I mean? It'd have to be
Right.
like a series of commands to get it to do what you want it to do. Because especially if you're thinking about like auto director, right? So let's say you have 3 different static shots on 3 different cameras and using auto director. Now you have to tell auto director what shot to go to when, on a
Right.
time scale, basically, right? So like maybe go to like, shot 3 on camera 1 every 6th frame or so. Like it would get, I could see it getting super, super complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't have to go into like a separate screen like the crop and zoom, like imagine how cluttered that UI would be, that output window, which is already like, it's fairly small. And so a lot of people are asking for those, like just being able to tap the output window to like set those static shots or do the crop and zoom. But like think about just how incredibly hectic that UI would get very quickly.
Yeah, because you have to tell that static shot what to do. So it's not only just selecting that static shot, it's like, do you want that static shot to be that static shot on the next time this camera comes around in the rotation, right? So like
Right.
if you have two static shots, you have to pick and choose. And if you're doing it manually, the regular Mevo app has a nice grid mode on it, which is cool, which you can you know set up basically 9 shots and pick and choose from one frame. So if they
Right.
incorporated that into the multicam app where you would just have like camera 1, 2, 3, and then the grid with the rest of your shots, it would be
Right.
a pretty crazy UI overhaul. Though I would expect that would take a lot of resources showing all the video, you know, thumbnails and stuff.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, think about the resources that that would take up, right? Like,
Just
you
on the
know,
phone or tablet, yeah.
yeah, like if you people are already asking for something that takes up more resources a lot, which is the when you're talking about adding more than 3 cameras to the multicam app, then unfortunately it just is harder and harder on the device. And so while we have used like alpha builds where you can add as many Mevos as you want, and I think I've done up to like maybe even 12 Mevos in the multicam app, and it works really good. It's just it takes up so many resources on my device that it's not something that a device that's less than like $1,200 would be. So yeah, when you talk about all these UI changes, then it gets really chaotic on your device. Not everybody wants to spend $1,200 on a tablet.
Yeah, I think once you get that, it's a great conversation. Kathy, thanks for this question. Because once you
Yeah,
get there, that's where you start seeing separations in like, you know, you have like your app Lite versus your app Pro, right? Because there's certain things
right.
that certain people are looking for, but not everybody needs, right? And those certain things are the things that maybe the Pro will, pay for or be more inclined to go after. Whereas like the everyday user might not need those extensive features. So, but it's definitely something to think about because I feel like we do get like we'll come out with a feature and then and everyone's like, okay, but what about this, this, and this, and this, and this? So it seems like there is a demand for like a pro level app that has a lot of these intricate features in it.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah,
Definitely a good question.
Chris.
You can tell this live. Yeah, facts.
You can tell that this live is hot. It's hilarious.
I'm looking forward to the quieter California streets for sure. All right, what's up, Laser Les? Do you have an Android device just to test? Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm a huge Android supporter with the Mevo, and yes, even having 2 iPad Pros, but have more success with Android. That's interesting. I mean, that could be a whole series of shows, honestly. iOS versus Android and the experience.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just different nuances. And he's
yeah,
responding to the Nudnik too, that who's using an iPad right now, from the question earlier. So yeah, it's something we've talked about a lot, like Android versus iOS. I don't think we've landed on an answer for that yet.
yeah. And it really depends on how you're using the Mevo, right?
Yeah,
Google live streaming cams, and oh, that's how you found us. Nice.
sick. Oh man, so he went down the full Mevo rabbit hole. Welcome, Nudnik. Just so you know, and I think we'll probably have a show graphic for this, right? Just so you know, we do these shows live twice a week, and we always use the Mevo cameras, and we get pretty in depth in what they could do. Sometimes, we think things are a little bit redundant, but since you're a brand new user, ask whatever questions you may have here live on the shows, and we'll be happy to answer them for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see here.
Looks like the schedule is actually not in there.
Oh, it's in there.
But yeah, we're live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single week. We've got the show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Although we always recommend people head over to Twitch or YouTube.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
This works.
This is a good question. Josh says, what amount of upload speed do y'all recommend for running 2 Mevo starts to stream services at church?
Well,
It depends. If he's doing multicam or two starts going to like OBS or something, right?
yeah, I mean, upload speed is like just like a portion of the equation. So obviously, we recommend up to 10 megabytes per second upload speed as a minimum. So if you can get over that, that's great. Um, Two Mevo starts to the stream services. I mean, it really depends on as far as like the quality of your stream or what you're going to get out of that 10 megabytes per second. A lot of that relies on how you're connecting to the network too. Are you doing Wi-Fi? Are you doing Ethernet? Um, Obviously, we would recommend Ethernet if you can because it's just a more stable connection. If you're using Wi-Fi, just make sure that those Wi-Fi channels are not full of traffic because that'll bog down your signal as well. But for upload speed, 10 megabytes per second, I would say it would be the recommended minimum. And then from there, obviously, the more you have, the better. The more room, the more bandwidth you have. Um, and if it's at a church, another thing too that we see a lot because we do get a lot of like houses of worship, church goers, is make sure that it's on its own dedicated network. Because what happens is a lot of times the church will have just their Wi-Fi open and everyone can access it, and then next thing you know, you have 100 people in there and they're just destroying the Wi-Fi. So if you can create a separate router for it or a separate network, a separate access point specifically for the feed, that'll help you in the long run for sure.
Yeah, that's a good call. CBS US Sports Radio says, "Hey guys, has anybody said anything about wireless webcam apps since the multicam update not connecting to the latest version of OBS?" No, I haven't heard anything saying like anything about that, but and that's something certainly I haven't experienced myself. Um, basically what's happening is the same thing as if you were going to connect a single Mevo to wireless webcam. So OBS just sees it as that wireless webcam source. So it doesn't really change anything that it's going from the multicam app instead of the Mevo. OBS is still seeing it as the same source.
Yeah, I
But
shouldn't
yeah, let
make
us
any difference at
know.
all.
Let us know any specifics about it not connecting. Like, are you saying that you're not seeing the wireless webcam source in OBS, or you see the source and it's not loading up the camera image? Give us a little bit more specifics, and maybe we can dive into that a little bit more.
Yes, even if I want to like test that, let's say I want to test that, this might dismantle everything for us right now, but let's find out.
Do it. Oh, maybe it did dismantle everything. Yep. Nice. All right. So while he's refreshing, coming back. Oh, here he is. Let's see. Oh, but he's got no video. What is up? All right. So while he's figuring that out, we deal with wireless webcam in OBS. It'll show up as a virtual source, and so that should always be there as a virtual camera. What's up, man? Welcome back.
Sure. So here's what I tried to do. I exited in the Mevo app the webcam I'm using for the show, right? And I went to go select my multicam app. The issue is, and this is a browser issue that we run into often, in Melon, I have to exit Chrome and restart Chrome for Melon to recognize the new input, right? Because it's not actively seeking new inputs. It's just going to work with whatever it had open when it was open, which I didn't
Right.
do. I didn't want to close it out, but that's what I would have to do. But then I was going to show off the multicam. But I do have multicam in Zoom. I mean, in OBS through the wireless webcam app. So should work. Should definitely work.
Yeah. This is interesting. What solutions are available for voice commands to switch cameras and scenes?
Great question. I mean, I don't know if there are any solutions available as far as voice for like I mean Zoom if you're doing
Right.
like this type of setup where like Zoom will cut to the person who's speaking.
Yeah, I
Off the
mean,
top
I
of my
don't
head, I
think
don't
that
know.
there's any voice controls that I know of when it comes to like OBS or anything like that. I think kind of the best that you can do is something like a Stream Deck or something like that. I mean, you could do that. What is it? That foot pedal that we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, is that a Elgato thing or is that
Yeah.
yeah? But that'd be
But there
manual
are
switching
third-party
seems.
ones as well. Yeah, I mean, it's all going to be manual, unfortunately. But I'm very curious, why do you want voice commands? Like, how are you, what stream, what kind of stream are you doing? What would you need it for?
Yeah, what's the
Uh,
setup? Yeah, if it's just a
yeah,
cut from one scene to another when they start talking, kind of like an auto director, that would be cool. But I just don't know of anything that does that.
yeah,
And maybe it exists. Folks in the chat, if you know of anything, post it up. Let's see.
yeah. Looks like we got some votes for the pro version. That's pretty cool.
Thanks, Michelle. I would pay for Pro. Yeah, if you need it and it's worth it for you. I mean, I think that's the whole point of having Pro versions of apps and stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would pay for pro too, even if if I wasn't working for Logitech. Cool. He says, so which would use less bandwidth and or CPU usage? Basically, which would be the best experience in your opinion? Yes, I have its own dedicated 18 to 20 megabyte upload network speed. Which would use, oh, you're talking about, this is the two Mevos going to OBS.
Oh, okay.
So in terms of bandwidth, the two Mevos going to OBS are gonna take up the same bandwidth whether you're using the two Mevos to OBS via NDI or multicam might be a little bit more bandwidth because you're going to the multicam app and then to OBS. But it also depends, maybe you don't even need to use OBS and you want to use just the multicam app. It depends, I guess, if you need to use a computer or not.
Yeah, he's following up with two Mevo start on NDI or versus two Mevo start on multicam, which what you're saying is like if your device is on multicam as well, that's just more things using the network. Whereas if you were just going straight NDI, you wouldn't necessarily need the multicam app at that point if you're using OBS or something like that.
Yeah. In NDI, you could set that bandwidth. You could use
HEVC.
the HEVC. Yeah, thank you. I'm like losing it.
I saw you
To
getting there.
cut that bandwidth in half. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so
Uh,
let's expand on that a little bit for Freddie here. So in the Mevo app,
yeah,
if you're on NDI, there's two options, right? So there's NDI, which is H.264, which you can send a maximum file size of 15 megabytes per second. Whereas if you're using HEVC, it actually cuts that in half, so you're at 7.5 megabytes per second, but you're not losing quality. The
right.
reason why we give you the two options is because not everybody uses HEVC at the moment, but it's definitely the better option, especially if you want to save on just overall load of what your machines are doing, right? So yeah, go with that.
Whoa. All right. Let's see. Back
Yeah,
and forth. It's
good
a
one,
long
big
one.
one. Let's get it.
Frodo says, hey again, what is up? We are running 3 Mevo starts with Ethernet adapters and have stable NDI stream. Nice. But sometimes during the broadcast, we need to log into the Android app to adjust the cameras. The settings on the cameras. My feedback to you guys, make it easy to switch to a camera over Wi-Fi. It feels like it's preferred wireless over Ethernet. Android app is connected to the same network as the Mevo Ethernet, so it should prefer to not change to wireless. Any comments or thoughts around this? I mean,
I'm confused a little bit here because if you're on,
yeah,
you should be able to access all of your cameras regardless of what they're outputting. So, for example, if I'm in my Mevo app, um, so if I'm bringing up my Mevo app, see if I can. I don't have the screen share right now. So these are some of the cameras I have going on. So you see these three are actually connected to my my multicam application. But if they weren't, if they were just just open or running, they would look like this, where I could just be able to connect to it. So some of these are connected Wi-Fi, and some of these are connected Ethernet. It won't matter. It'll just say connect to Mevo, and then it'll tell you under the Mevo which one it is. So even if you're using NDI, webcam, whatever, you should still be able to log into each Mevo without having to close anything out or interrupt any stream or anything like that. You can make those adjustments midstream if you wanted to. So, for example, if I want to hop into the one I'm using right now, um, I could just, I want to change some like zooms and give something like that, I could absolutely do it.
yeah. I think as long as you have that the Wi-Fi network and the Ethernet network are on the same devices, then you shouldn't have a problem. If you have your like I think what he's saying is like he has to connect to the Mevo hotspot when it's in Ethernet mode. So he has to switch to the different Mevo hotspots. Like, does that make a
Yeah,
little
but
more sense?
but with the new UI, you don't have to do that. I don't think. So, for example, like if
Yeah, it should
I'm,
just automatically show the connect option as long as it's the
yeah,
same network.
so I took all the cameras I had off of the um, multicam setup that I had. So here's the cameras here, if I can focus that a little bit. So all these cameras, they're all on the same network. Some of them are connected to my Wi-Fi. Some of them are connected to my Ethernet. But it'll tell you at the bottom that one's Ethernet. That one says Command Center. That's my Wi-Fi. This one says Ethernet is available, but it's connected to my Wi-Fi. But on any single one of these, I can tap into any of these and connect to them, even if they're in the middle of a stream or doing something. So if it's forcing you to go to like the hotspot mode or something like that, are they on different networks?
Right.
Is that the issue?
Yep. Let us know. Give us a little bit more information. This is also another one. You should give us some more information. Having problems connecting wireless webcam with Windows 11. Let us know. What exactly the issue is. Is it not showing up? Your Mevo is not showing up in wireless webcam in Windows 11, or is it showing up and you can connect to the Mevo and it's not like showing up in an application that you're trying to use?
Yeah, and in the wireless webcam application too, you can report bugs directly from the app, and what that'll do is report your logs as well. So you can always open up a ticket through there, and it'll send the app log. So helpful for our dev team if we have to research it.
Yeah, for sure. Does the update permit streaming to Twitter directly? I think I heard something like that. Yeah,
Well, Miguel,
in yeah, the latest update, you can now stream directly to Twitter.
yeah, do we have that slide? Pretty sure we have that one, right?
We do.
What's new
We
with
do
the?
have that one.
All right, let's talk about what's new with the multicam app.
Yeah. There you go. Nice.
So, to answer Miguel's question here on Facebook, the Mevo Multicam 1.4 update allows you to do a few things. The new multicam app allows you to connect to your computer using the multicam app. So this allows you to have 3 different angles as one source as a webcam input on your computer. You can also stream directly to Twitter. So this is a direct live stream to Twitter, same as you would going to YouTube or Facebook. And then the new and improved advanced audio mixer for even more control. What this is going to allow you to do is use up to 5 different audio inputs directly into the Mevo, whether it be an external input using the headphone jack, I'm sorry, the 3.5 millimeter, or even using the device audio that's running the Mevo multicam, which is also brand new. So a couple of new things, pretty big update, the last update, a lot of new features, a lot of new useful features for sure.
Yeah, and I do want to mention is we're going to be talking about multicam all month long, and so we're going to be doing demos of multicam to Zoom, demos of multicam to Streamlabs, or OBS if you use that. So yeah, we're going to cover a lot, as well as the audio show as well. Cool. Oh, it looks like George is following up. The Mevo is not showing up in the wireless app, so that's what the issue is. So and I would bet that if you just updated to Windows 11, which most people did, that it's probably like your firewall is on. I would make sure, if you have a VPN, that is off. But I would guess more than anything, it's probably like firewall related.
Also, the basics. Be sure that the Mevo and the computer are on the same network.
Right,
Otherwise,
totally.
it won't show up. And I know it sounds silly sometimes, but like, it happens.
Let's
All right,
see.
what time are you at here?
I just jumped down when I saw that one, so I'm now trying to find. Here we go.
Yep, that's the one I
Christopher
was looking at too.
says we had a micro SD card become corrupted, and I needed to reformat it on my computer. What's the preferred format to set up the SD cards for the Mevo Start? I think the default is FAT32, right?
I think it's supposed to be formatted in exFAT. I'm just going to double.
exFAT, I think, gives you the larger files, right?
I think so.
Oh man.
So it says it's because the amount of times we've answered this question, we think we would know it for sure. So we recommend formatting in exFAT file format. FAT32 will work for cards less than 32 gigabytes, but may cause your files to split more frequently. So exFAT will have your files split less frequently, and you can use larger SD cards. But the good news about that is you can format the SD card directly from the Mevo. So plug it into the Mevo and go into your settings, and there's a format SD card option. And it'll format it specifically for the Mevo.
Thanks. Let's see. One of my Mevo Start is connected through NDI. I zoom in the camera app, but it does not zoom in on the vMix screen. The other two Mevo cameras work fine.
That's an interesting problem to have. That might be a vMix issue.
Do you have? Yeah, that is very unique. So if one of your cameras is NDI, are the other two Mevos not NDI? Or are they also NDI and those do zoom? Like, I'm wondering if you have all of the sources connected to NDI, are you positive that you're using the correct source? So if vMix just shows 3 NDI sources and not like, and you're using a different Mevo, like, and you're zooming in the app, but you're actually viewing a different Mevo. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you would see that. You would see what angle you're messing around with in vMix,
Yeah.
right? The only thing I could think of
Yeah, I
is
guess it depends on the setup.
Yeah, like if you're not looking at the angle, you would have to be to check it to monitor it.
Yeah.
But if they're all NDI and only one of them's not working, is the zoom working in the app? Like when you go into the app, do you actually see the zoom on the program out? Are you able to use the zoom in other applications? Like if you just did a stream with just that Mevo, is the zoom working there? Because if all that's working before it gets to your computer, then the issue is probably a communication issue. I don't know. I don't know what would stop that from happening. I've never really seen that before.
Definitely.
But I would say, yeah, good.
I was just gonna say, try and record what's going on in the Mevo app and what's going on in vMix, and send those 2 videos in a ticket. But yeah, I would try and capture as much of that as possible.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Plan is to be streaming while I work on a car shop and want to be able to switch from the wide shot to an up close shot of the engine bay without having to touch the device. Oh, so this is the voice control.
I see what you're saying. I mean, the only sacrifice you'd have to make really would just be tapping the screen.
Right.
Because even
Yeah, I
if you
mean,
had like
this
the
is
Mevo
kind of,
handheld, you can kind of carry one with
yeah.
you and just get like that close up shot, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great use for, multiple Mevos though. Like if you have two Mevos, one is if they're both connected to the multicam app and you have one that's just permanently like that up close shot and one that's permanently the wide shot, you could just set it to auto director, and it'll just switch back and forth. Or you can just have the Mevo on a phone next, or in the multicam app on a phone, and just quickly switch when you need to. But
Yeah, but I can understand the
yeah,
issue. Like if your hands are all oily and you're working on a car, you
right,
don't really want to be touching your tablet or your phone. I get it. There's no really way because even if you hooked up like an NDI, like the PTZ controls, you still need to click it
right.
on a computer or a joystick or something. You know, like you'd have to set up some type of other control. Either any way, shape, or form you're touching something. So, but voice
Yeah.
commands would be awesome for that feature.
But also, like, we were talking about the pedals. Like, that might be the best solution. It's like you just keep it by your feet and just stomp on it.
That's true, and just have it change the scene like in Streamlabs
Yeah.
or something.
Mhm.
That'd be cool.
Cool.
Jim.
Let's see what's up, Jim. Hello guys. Sorry I'm late. Just letting you know that my two Mevo Start setup was ultra successful and seemed a bit rate of streamed at a bit rate
6.1.
of 6.1. However, it was short lived after many people came to watch the indoor softball games. It crashed down to zero 0.9.
Oh,
So
so
you were
traffic
probably
ate it up.
using, yeah. And if you're indoor, I guess it's venue Wi-Fi. Yeah, I mean, you might be better off just being on cellular. I don't know what the
Well,
cell
I know
signal is
Jim's
there, but
he's gone back and forth in that. He might even be using cellular for this one.
oh, really?
I remember, yeah, because he does the softball games, but he does them all over the place. Like, so it's never like the same area. I think he goes
Oh,
back and
okay.
forth. But I'm glad it was successful at the start. You know, it sounds like
Yeah.
the bandwidth just got eaten up.
Always the challenge when on location, man. Seabass
Oh,
says, "Thanks for doing these shows. They're very helpful." That's awesome. We're always happy to see that.
yeah, and thanks for thanking us. And if you want to thank us even more, follow the links that we're posting on the bottom here, and you know, follow us on all the socials at Mevo Camera everywhere, at Logitech C pretty much everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
that'd be super helpful.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've kept this as our little ticker at the bottom for a while now, and so if you haven't already gone to Logitech C on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you definitely should. On YouTube, it's a little bit different. It's YouTube. It's Logitech for Creators, so it's the whole written out thing. But definitely do those because you're going to see more and more posts and announcements and ads and stuff like that about the show and upcoming shows there. So it's definitely worth checking out and giving those follows. Cool. Um, oh, that's interesting. OBS has voice command tool, but I don't think it would work with the multicam app. So each cam would have to be their own source. Yeah, if OBS does have a voice command tool, then they definitely would have to be their own sources. That's cool. We should definitely play around with that.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's fantastic.
I
Thanks for
know.
joining and teaching us something today. That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Because at that point, set up the three cameras NDI, and if you're able to say, "Hey, camera one, camera two," and it cuts to it, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that's sick. Cool. He says, last question. Is 4K 60 FPS actually looking better than 1080 30 FPS when going through third-party software such as Ecamm and OBS, even when using a switchboard or restream? Yes, typically. I mean, it really depends on the sensor of the device, right? So sometimes 4K looks a lot better than 1080, and sometimes it doesn't at all. But it shouldn't be degraded much by depending on what you're using, right?
Well, it depends, right? So like I think Ecamm is still 720. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if it's even 1080 on Ecamm.
Is it?
Uh, it may be. I mean, I haven't checked in a long time, so don't quote me on that. But some video platforms are only going to be 720. So even if you have a 4K sensor, that image is getting compressed, right? And it's getting squished down to a 720 canvas or 1080 canvas. Now we had this conversation at the top of the show with our graphics, right? So the graphics that we made, that were a little bit more crisper for our show, we made them in 4K and then just shrunk them down, just so if there is some type of signal loss, you still have a lot of detail built into the image, which is really what is going to make it look better. But I mean, it really depends because you got to think, it'll say you have a 4K 60 frames per second video that's, I don't know, 4 minutes long. You're probably looking at almost a gig of data, you know, whereas when that gets compressed and then sent through like Ecamm, for example, if you're going to OBS and then sending OBS to whatever destination, that 1 gig file and it's just going to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink as you go through all those things. So um, technically, yeah, it should look better just because it's better input. So in the audio world, good sound in is good sound out, right? So if you're recording a guitar amp and guitar amp sounds like crap, no matter what else you do to it on the back end, it's always going to sound like crap. So yeah, I mean, I would have the best video input you can have, and you may see degradation, but it'll look better than shrinking a 1080p video to 720. Shrinking a 4K video to 1080 is a little different. So, kind of
Yeah.
a non-answer there, but
Well, I mean, it is such like an in-depth topic, really,
yeah.
with a lot of variables. Michelle says we have a random repeat of a word in audio stream when using Restream or Melon. Is latency or something else the problem? Audio into the Mevo from Mixer. Oh, so they're just hearing like echoes.
I don't know. It says random repeat of a word. If it's random, like if it was a delay or latency issue, it would be happening every word. Repeat of a word. I mean, if it's definitely some type of latency issue for sure.
If
I'd
it's
have
just
to.
like a random word every once in a while, or is it just like, yeah, it would have to
Maybe
be a
Michelle.
latency issue.
Yeah, maybe the way to test this, Michelle, would just go straight from your Mevo to YouTube, if as like a private video just on your own, and see if you run into the same issue. Then, or Facebook or whatever you go to, and then go through Restream, see if the issue pops up, and if the issue pops up there, then there's something going on with latency between Restream and Mevo or the connection. There could be a network problem. But if it's just like a random word now and then, that could just be a blip in the feed, like it's stuttering or something. I'm sure a couple times in our feed you saw like a little buffer or catch up. I mean, that could just be that. I'd have to
Right.
see. I'd have to see the consistency and and hear an example. Because you know
Yeah,
what I thought
that's
of first?
interesting though.
You know what I
What?
thought first? I thought it was a watermark. Sometimes some audio like for example, I'm trying to think of a good example. I don't know. I don't think Restream does it, but like if you're using like a free plugin or something like that, you'll have like an audible watermark. So like that'll
Right.
like for example on SoundCloud, you'll see that on like certain songs that they don't want you to rip the song, so they'll put like copy, and like you'll hear like this like digital
Right.
word just pop
Right. Right.
over. At first I was thinking something like that, but I didn't think Restream does anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think so. That would be interesting though.
302. What's
Cool,
next?
David. We got to burn through these. David says, when are you discussing multicam to Zoom? Is that scheduled? Yeah. So
It is.
it's Thursday, right?
It is Thursday. Yep, March 10th. Oh, did I not send you the schedule either? March 10th is using multicam with Zoom. So yeah, there we're gonna do a full-on in and out on how to do that. And we'll probably go over some audio stuff there too, just to show what Zoom can do with audio. And then after that, the following Thursday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, I believe, we're going to talk about the new multicam audio mixer. And then the Thursday after that, we're gonna bring the multicam into Streamlabs, and that's been since we've announced multicam to webcam. That's been a topic of discussion: is how do I get this into OBS? How do I get this into Streamlabs? So we're gonna show you guys how to do that as well.
Yep. Can you stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time? How many platforms? I'm new to this. Thanks. Yeah, so you can definitely stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. It depends. Are you using the Mevo single cam app or if you're using the multicam app? But if you're using the single cam app, you can use Vimeo Premium, or a secondary service like the multicam app can do if you connect via Restream or via RTMP to Restream Caster, or you could use Melon.
Yeah. So first, Phil, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Joining us on YouTube. Appreciate it. If you are new to this, a lot of the multiple destination streaming services cost money. So like if you like Vimeo Producer and Vimeo Premium costs money. Restream will cost, I think it's like $15 or something like that. I think Restream has a free option, but they don't let you go to one destination. So usually that multiple destination is an add-on. But it depends on what you're doing with your show. So for example, our show today, we're streaming through an app called Melon App. It's melonapp.com. This is an app brought to you by Streamlabs, Logitech. And what this does, it's a web-based app that allows us to do all these graphics that you're seeing, the camera switching, the chat that we're seeing. We're seeing chat from Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube right now. So we're able to stream to those multiple destinations and interact with them. So it really depends on what you're looking to do, but you can absolutely do it directly from the Mevo if you want to, using the Mevo app. And you can go up to, I believe, well, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it 10? Is 10 the limit on like Vimeo with the premium?
Yeah. You are correct.
Cool. So 10 different destinations.
Let's see. Michelle's following up like a repeat. We call it a hiccup echo. Otherwise, audio lines are perfect with the video. CPU is less than 70% performance. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's happening every once in a while, it's probably just a hiccup in like the network bogging down for like a second and then delaying. I mean, it's probably happened like 10 times in our feed today.
It's latency for sure. Just network in general.
Yep.
Connecting my Mevo start to Ecamm Live via NDI, but I'm not getting a sharp image. I've set the resolution to 1080 on both Ecamm and the Mevo app. What else might be affecting the resolution? So in terms of NDI, obviously it depends if you're using the higher or lower bitrate settings. 1080p and 720p have different bitrates options that you can choose. So yeah, it depends what you're doing there. And then let's see. What else? We also have found that lowering the exposure, and so like if you do some image adjustments, you might have a better resolution, or not resolution, but better quality image.
Lighting is huge.
Yeah.
Like image quality and stuff like that. It's hard because we're not seeing what you're seeing. But for example, if I just like shut my lights off, like my Lytra glows that I have connected here, you'll see just a massive difference in quality.
Yep. Looks like Jim was saying, so he was on cellular. So he was
on cellular.
Yeah, that is crazy. That sucks. Unfortunately, when just more people are around, it's just taking up that bandwidth.
Yeah, because he went
Let's
from
see.
6 megabytes per second to 1 or less than 1, right? That sucks.
And he was using a 5G device too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
unfortunately, there's no upgrade that you can do from there, right?
the only option there really is just, I know everything, you want to show everybody the games live, but if you can record it and upload later, condensed versions, workarounds, just because you have all the tools, Jim. You're doing everything right. You're not doing anything wrong. Just if the network doesn't work, the network doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could try maybe a different service provider. Let's see. Virgil says, has anyone thought about using a T-Mobile home Wi-Fi for portable internet solution? I don't know. I don't know anything about the T-Mobile home Wi-Fi routers, but you can definitely use, MiFi devices like Jim was just talking about for a better internet solution. Netgear makes the Nighthawk or whatever it is. It's really, really good.
The Nighthawk. Yeah, I mean, so Virgil, just whatever is the best internet connection you can get. If you're using a T-Mobile home Wi-Fi, I think doesn't that rely on the T-Mobile service in the area too? Like, don't you have to be near like a 5G tower for those to work? Are those
Yeah.
working off towers? So like you can run into something like what Jim ran into, right? He had great signal in the beginning, but once the tower started eating up, getting, I guess, congested, that's when he
Right.
started running into issues.
Um.
See, you see, 247, I think it was. I think it was. Yeah.
Just trying to burn through. Let's see.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks for the answer. It's exactly what my assumptions. I do understand how it's meant to work, and it's very clear how you explained it. That's always good. According to your comments and what you showed live, it must be something funky on a network for the Mevos and phone, and not thinking it can connect directly. Thanks a lot. Love the show. Cool.
Thanks, Frodus. Thanks for the kind words. I hope it works out for you. That was the OBS NDI thing. I mean, at the end of the day, too, reset everything. That's always like my like end all be all. Just reboot everything. Reboot the router. Reboot the computer. Reboot the Mevo. See what happens.
Cool. Get back to where I was.
I didn't realize how far.
Yeah, we are. There's a lot of engagement, and it's great. And we apologize for going over. We'll try and burn through these last ones.
Oh, getting spammed on Twitch. Maybe we can get LaserLess to take care of that stuff for us in the future.
Ooh, yeah. Oh no, it's YouTube.
Oh, is it YouTube? Oh no.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we'll have to start recruiting some mods in the future.
Oh,
cool.
I see Jim's
So
comment
Michelle
there.
says
Good
she'll post a sample
post
on
it.
Facebook.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that'd be
We'll definitely
great.
take a look at that.
Jim saying.
It's great.
Yeah. Happy that we can help. Cool. So it looks like we have reached the bottom. Thank you guys so much for all of these questions, and it's awesome to see everybody helping each other out on the different networks. We're hoping to see more and more of that in the future, and so we're constantly pushing you over to Twitch so that you guys can have those good back and forths to help each other out. If you didn't get anything answered on the show and you have a question, you can always open up a ticket on help.mevo.com, as well as check out all of the help support articles there. We'll be back on Thursday. You want to talk about Thursday's show?
Sure. Absolutely. So we'll be back on Thursday with Mevo Live, and on Thursday we're going to go through the ins and outs on how to use the multicam as a webcam in Zoom. So we're going to show you basically that whole process, And then keep an eye on us every Tuesday and Thursday at Mevo Camera on Facebook, Twitter, not Twitter, sorry, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And I guess we could do Twitter. So we'll go ahead and end it now, and we will see you guys on Thursday. Take care.